There is a reason why so many people feel like something is shifting, not exploding, not collapsing overnight, but quietly, undeniably changing. You can feel it in conversations. You can see it in headlines. You can sense it in the tension people carry without knowing why. This is not fear talking. This is awareness. Every generation believes it lives in important times, but only a few generations live in decisive times, moments when history doesn't whisper, it signals. The idea of end times is often misunderstood. People imagine chaos, fire, sudden destruction, but the reality is far more subtle and far more unsettling. The end doesn't begin with the world falling apart. It begins with the world losing direction. When progress accelerates, but wisdom disappears. When technology advances, but humanity declines. When information increases, but understanding fades. That is when time starts pressing forward faster than people expect. Look around. We are more connected than ever, yet more divided than ever. We have more comfort, yet less peace. More voices, yet less truth. The signs aren't hiding. They are everywhere, normalized. What once shocked people now barely causes reaction. What once demanded reflection now becomes entertainment. This is how transitions happen, not through sudden disaster, but through gradual acceptance. Acceptance of confusion, acceptance of contradiction, acceptance of instability as normal. And once instability becomes normal, people stop asking questions. That's when time moves ahead unchecked. The concept of end times is not about predicting dates, it's about recognizing direction. History shows us something important. Civilizations don't collapse because they run out of resources first. They collapse because they run out of meaning. When purpose disappears, everything else follows. Morality becomes flexible, truth becomes personal, responsibility becomes optional. And when accountability fades, power fills the gap. This is not coincidence, it's pattern. Every major turning point in history followed the same trajectory. Confidence without humility, growth without restraint, freedom without responsibility. Eventually, the balance breaks. Today, the world runs faster than the human soul can process. News changes by the hour. Narratives reverse overnight. Certainty feels dangerous. People are exhausted, not physically, but mentally and spiritually. That exhaustion is not accidental. When systems become too complex, when truth becomes too layered, people stop searching, they settle. They settle for comfort over clarity. They settle for distraction over understanding. But time does not pause for those who settle. The idea of end times isn't about everything ending tomorrow. It's about recognizing that something has already begun, a closing of one chapter, a confrontation with consequences long delayed. The clock doesn't threaten, it simply moves, and every second that passes carries weight. We are living in an era where warning feels offensive, where preparation feels unnecessary, and where reflection feels outdated. Yet history proves one thing clearly. The moments people mocked caution were the moments just before realization. This isn't about panic, it's about perspective. Understanding that every generation is tested, but not every generation recognizes its test. The world today rewards speed, not depth, reaction, not reflection, emotion, not reason. And when emotion leads without truth, decisions become dangerous. End times are not marked by fire in the sky first. They are marked by confusion in the mind, by noise replacing wisdom, by urgency replacing patience, by power replacing principle. And the most dangerous part? Most people don't notice because it feels normal while it's happening. That is why awareness matters more than fear. Because the real question isn't, is this the end? The real question is, are we paying attention while time is still speaking softly?
Time doesn't shout when it's about to change direction. It moves quietly,
almost politely, while people stay busy, distracted, and confident that tomorrow will look just like today. But something feels different now. The world still functions, yet it feels unstable beneath the surface. People scroll endlessly, but peace feels harder to find. Voices are louder, patience is thinner, and certainty is fading. This isn't random. When an era begins to close, pressure increases before clarity arrives. Confusion grows before truth becomes visible. History has always worked this way. In times like these, people don't lose intelligence, they lose discernment. Everyone has an opinion, but few stop to examine what they believe or why they believe it. Truth becomes negotiable. Comfort becomes more important than conviction. That shift is dangerous, because when truth becomes flexible, deception doesn't need to force itself in. It simply blends in. People today aren't rejecting truth outright. They're replacing it with something easier to live with, something that doesn't demand repentance, something that doesn't require patience, something that promises peace without transformation. And it sounds reasonable. That's always how deception works. It never arrives looking evil. It arrives looking practical, compassionate, and progressive. The greatest changes rarely happen through chaos. They happen through agreement. Agreement to stay silent, agreement to adjust values, agreement to delay obedience. And slowly, without noticing, people drift, not away from religion, but away from reverence, not away from belief, but away from submission. Spiritual routines remain, but spiritual sensitivity weakens. People still speak about God, but fewer people listen for Him. This is one of the clearest signs of the times. External order with internal emptiness. The world appears advanced, yet hearts feel restless. Technology grows smarter, but wisdom feels scarce. And restlessness always searches for answers. When people feel uncertain, they look for stability. When stability feels fragile, they look for authority. When authority promises peace, many stop asking questions. That's how influence gains power. Not through fear first, but through reassurance. Reassurance that says, relax, everything is under control. Reassurance that says, you don't need to worry about tomorrow. Reassurance that removes urgency. But urgency matters, because moments like this don't last forever. Every generation reaches a point where decisions carry more weight than usual, where neutrality becomes a choice, where delay becomes disobedience. The danger isn't that people are becoming evil. The danger is that people are becoming comfortable. Comfortable with compromise, comfortable with silence, comfortable with blurred lines. And comfort numbs awareness. When awareness fades, people stop watching. When people stop watching, they stop preparing. And preparation has always separated those who were ready from those who were surprised. The signs aren't meant to create panic. They're meant to create perspective. Not fear, but focus. Because endings don't arrive without warning. They arrive while people are distracted, confident, and convinced there's still plenty of time. And that's where this moment stands, right at the edge of awareness, with a choice still in front of us, and a window that has not yet closed.
What makes this moment unsettling is not what is happening loudly, but what is happening quietly. People assume that if something truly significant were approaching, it would feel dramatic, alarming, obvious. But history shows the opposite. The most critical shifts often occur while daily life continues uninterrupted. People keep working, shopping, planning vacations, building futures that assume stability is guaranteed. That assumption is powerful and dangerous, because the greatest spiritual danger is not open rebellion, it is unconscious drift. Drift happens when people stop examining themselves, when prayer becomes habit instead of hunger, when belief exists but obedience becomes selective. This is how faith becomes cultural instead of transformational. In every generation, there are moments when truth must be chosen deliberately, not inherited casually. This is one of those moments. Many want assurance without surrender, guidance without discipline, hope without accountability. But real faith has always required awareness. Awareness of what shapes your thinking, awareness of what dulls your conscience, awareness of how easily constant noise replaces reflection. The modern world doesn't silence truth, it drowns it. With entertainment, with endless information, with opinions that sound wise but lack depth. People confuse being informed with being prepared. Preparation is internal before it is external. It begins with alignment, when beliefs, actions, and priorities point in the same direction. But alignment is uncomfortable. It requires honesty about what you tolerate, about what you excuse, about what you delay. Delay feels harmless because it doesn't look like rejection. It looks like later. Later I'll change. Later I'll take this seriously. Later I'll realign my life. But later is the most fragile promise anyone can make, because time doesn't ask permission before it moves forward. The signs of an approaching shift are rarely about calendars or dates. They're about conditions. When confusion increases instead of clarity, when division replaces unity, when truth becomes subjective and authority becomes negotiable. These are indicators, not to frighten, but to awaken. Awakening doesn't mean withdrawing from the world. It means seeing it clearly. It means recognizing when something sounds comforting but leads away from responsibility, when something feels peaceful but requires surrendering discernment. Discernment is costly. It requires slowing down in a culture addicted to speed, listening deeply in a world that rewards reaction, standing firm when blending in feels easier. Most people don't fall away suddenly. They fade gradually. A little less prayer, a little more compromise, a little less urgency, until faith becomes background noise, and background noise is easy to ignore. This is why warnings matter. Not warnings shouted in anger, but warnings spoken with patience. Because warning is not condemnation, it is care. Care that says, pay attention. Care that says, this moment matters. Care that refuses to let you sleep through something significant. Awareness is not about knowing everything that will happen. It's about being ready, regardless of how it happens. Ready in character, ready in conviction, ready in posture. Because readiness is internal before it is visible. And this season is not asking for panic, it is asking for depth. Depth of faith, depth of understanding, depth of commitment. Surface-level belief will not hold under pressure. Only rooted faith remains steady when certainty disappears. And pressure is increasing, not always through persecution, but through distraction. Not always through suffering, but through subtle compromise. This is why the moment feels heavy, even when life looks normal. Something is being revealed. Something is being tested. Something is being separated quietly, internally, invisibly. And how you respond now, privately, internally, is shaping how you will stand later.
What ultimately matters in moments like this is not how much you know, but who you have become. When everything unnecessary is stripped away, what remains is the posture of your heart, not your routines, not your reputation, not the language you use to describe your faith. What remains is whether your trust is real, whether your love is rooted, whether your obedience is sincere. This is not a call to fear the future. It is a call to face it with clarity. The purpose of awareness is not anxiety. It is alignment. Alignment between what you believe and how you live. Alignment between what you confess and what you pursue. Alignment between what you say you trust and where you actually place your security. Faith was never meant to be something you turn on when circumstances feel unstable. It was meant to shape you long before instability arrives. That shaping happens quietly, in moments when you choose truth over convenience, when you choose integrity without applause, when you choose to remain faithful even when no one is watching. These choices may feel small, but they are forming something solid within you.
The world may continue to feel uncertain. Voices may grow louder. Opinions may grow sharper. Comfort may become more tempting than conviction. But steadiness is still possible. Not because everything will make sense, but because your foundation is secure. There is a peace that does not depend on explanations, a confidence that does not rely on timing, a hope that does not fade when conditions shift. That peace comes from knowing where you stand, from having examined your heart honestly, from having adjusted where you needed to adjust, from having responded rather than delayed. This is not about perfection. It never has been. It is about sincerity, about humility, about willingness. A willing heart remains teachable. A humble heart remains sensitive. A sincere heart remains awake. And an awake heart does not need to be shaken to respond. You were not meant to live numbed by routine or distracted by constant noise. You were meant to live with intention, with discernment, with an awareness that time matters, choices matter, and direction matters. But you were also meant to live with hope. Not fragile hope, not shallow optimism, but steady hope, the kind that holds even when answers are incomplete. This is a season for examining, not accusing, for realigning, not retreating, for deepening, not drifting. If something within you feels stirred, that is not pressure, it is invitation. An invitation to live awake, to live grounded, to live ready, not in fear, but in trust. Because readiness is not about escaping the world, it is about being anchored while living within it. So remain attentive, guard your heart, protect what shapes your thinking, hold tightly to truth even when it is unpopular. Let your faith be active, not assumed. Let your love remain warm, not routine. Let your awareness sharpen, not fade. There is still time to align, still time to listen, still time to respond. And as you move forward, do so with peace, not because everything ahead is easy, but because your foundation is sure. Stay awake, stay rooted, and walk forward with a heart that is ready.